everyone. Good late evening, good late night to you. This is Follow Everton. I am Chad coming to you from across the Atlantic here in the States. We are going to talk today a little bit about a few things. We're going to revisit the Tottenham match from this past weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about what's in the news right now with Everton. Some unsettling, well, I don't know if it's unsettling. There's a video that was online of some of our fans acting like real asses. We'll talk about that. And then we're also going to preview the Doncaster Carabao Cup match. This tie is going to be on Tuesday. So we'll talk about that. We may very well be joined also by Colton, who was on a previous show. He was on the match preview for Tottenham. He may be stopping by with us to give us his thoughts on the Doncaster match for this Tuesday. And then we'll also want to hear what he thought about the 4-0 loss to Tottenham. And then we'll take your comments as well. So it looks like we're just getting started. We have some people with us. Thank you for joining us. This is your almost midnight blues over in the UK. We appreciate your eyes this evening. Let me see if I can get some of these comments up. If there's any comments, put a comment in here so I can see if the comments are working. Well, let's get started. I'm going to address what's kind of the big talking point right now online. It is the video that is now surfacing of some Everton fans at the train station following the loss to Tottenham as the players were getting on the bus. I'm sure everyone has seen it. I will put it up there just so you can't hear it. Obviously, it is the squad getting onto the train to head home, and they face some real verbal abuse. Neil Maupay, Mason Holgate. It's hard to make out a lot of what's being said in it. There is some choice words and some name calling, some real unpleasant stuff there. And I think it just needs to be said that we all love this club. And it feels odd for this to come from me, since this is an adopted team for me. It's not one that I've been born into, not one that, generations of my family have followed. So it's it might not have the same weight coming from someone in the States who has, only been following the club for a portion of their life, a fraction of their life. But this is really disheartening. After all, these are human beings. We should be rooting for this team with all of our heart and soul. It is not their fault that Farhad Mashiri has turned out to be an absolutely atrocious owner that has gotten us into loads of financial problems. It is not their fault that Sean Dyche chooses to play a very pragmatic, conservative style that is not easy on the eyes. We'll get into his style in a moment. It is not their fault that Everton have been. It is not solely their fault that Everton have been in a relegation scrap for several years now. Many of them are just trying to do the best they can for this club. Some of them are new to the club this year. Ilman Ndiaye, Jake O'Brien, I saw in that video. I hate that this is the impression that these players are getting of the club that we love. It's being ruined by a few select Everton fans that feel like it is their right to be able to talk to these players like that because they bought a ticket, because they buy a shirt. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox here, but no one should have the right to dole out that kind of abuse. So please, let's understand that these are human beings, and that we should be supporting them, because otherwise, what motivation will they have to help, fight for wins that are going to be so crucial this year? What motivation will they have to want to give everything that they have, so we can avoid relegation and move into Bramley-Moore Dock as a Premier League side? All right. I see some comments coming in. Great to see you all. I see some of our regulars. I'll remind you again, this is Follow Everton. Thank you for joining us. It is nearly midnight, 11:35, nearly midnight in the UK. Appreciate your time. We're going to talk about Tottenham a bit, and we're going to preview Doncaster. I'll try not to keep you on too long. I know that many of you are working in the morning. So let's see what we got here. We're still shit. Easy now. I mean, it's probably accurate. I picked on the match preview that Everton would lose 3-0. wasn't all that off. 4-0 loss, as we know. And at no point did we look like we were a goal threat. At no point did we look like we were making Tottenham uncomfortable. There was a few minutes at the end of the first half. So I think we all knew this was coming. Historically, we don't play well at Tottenham, and we're lucky to often get out with a draw and a single point. So I don't think anybody was surprised by this result, but disheartening nonetheless, just in the way that we lost, coming off of 3-0 to Brighton, now 4-0 to Tottenham, and you just question. And these are both good sides. These are good sides. This is not Bournemouth. This is not Forest. This is not Leicester. These are not sides that we are going to be fighting for our Premier League safety with. These are good sides that are going to compete for Europe and the Champions League. But it was just the way that we looked, which was so unsettling. And I understand all the calls for Dyche out. I mean, we have it right here. Peter, I see you. Peter, I see you. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong to think that and to want that, because we deserve more, as we deserve better as fans than what we have gotten. But to me, beyond Dyche out, beyond Kevin Thewell out, it's Farhad Mashiri. Get him out of our club, because we can do Dyche out all we want, but it's no different than what we've seen with Frank Lampard and Benitez. It's no different. Silva. The manager is only a part of the problem, and they cannot be the entire solution. So just wanting Sean Dyche out, I can understand why, but we're also talking about potentially sacking a manager that would have had us in 11th place on the table last year, point deductions aside, a manager that had this team playing very good football at the end of the season, competitive, winning games at Goodison. I think we were all really happy with the way the season ended. We didn't have to sweat to the last week like in the season prior. And they looked good. They looked thin. It's a thin squad, but they looked competent, and they were, holding teams to clean sheets and seeming very competent. It filled me with optimism coming into the season. I really thought, I was talking to my friends here in the States. I really thought, I was like, Everton can finish 9th. I think we can push for Europe. It'll be just out of our grasps, but I think we can get there. Dominic Calvert-Lewin was going to be coming into a season fully healthy for a change. And while some had questioned his motivation, does he really even want to be on Merseyside anymore? Does he still want to wear that blue shirt? What kind of wages is he even looking for right now? I was still hopeful that, hey, a healthy and fit and informed Dominic Calvert-Lewin means wins. We've seen that when he's in the side and he's playing well, he impacts winning. So that's what I was hopeful for. I thought we were going to have some really good additions. Abdoulaye Doucouré, I was hoping would turn it around. He did not end last season very well. I was hoping, he would get a summer off. He would be able to get back into top fitness. He would have a full training camp. He was on an expiring deal before. He only re-upped for another year. This is a contract year for Abdoulaye Doucouré. This is where he would be showing his worth and his value. So either Everton had the option of selling him on, or he looked good for a new contract, a new deal when he became a free at the end of the season. And Abdoulaye Doucouré hasn't shown that at all. He looks like he's on the verge of being washed up and being of no value to this side as well. It's concerning to me. It's disheartening to me. And I think I've used those words already a couple times, that Harrison Armstrong can come into that game with 5 minutes of stoppage time and look better in those 5 minutes than Abdoulaye Doucouré did for the 60 odd minutes that he was on previously. That's concerning to me. That's concerning that the two best players on the pitch for Everton were Roman Dixon, and I'm probably being kind there, but that's my enthusiasm for a 19-year-old that looks good. For Tim Irabunum, who is 20, 21, I thought he looked okay. I thought he was trying to create chances. And and Harrison Armstrong looked intriguing in his a couple minutes. I see what the fuss is about. Oftentimes we hear about these under 21 players, and you guys get to see them where I don't. And we hear that there's potential there, but it's often unrealized once they reach the Premier League. There could be something there with those players. So we'll see. We'll get into it to Tottenham just a bit more. Let me see what else we have here for comments here. Chad, I'm amazing. Well, that's just very kind. Well, thank you very much. I'm in a good mood. Let's be happy here. Let's be joyful, and we'll see if we can get to some of your comments as well. Fantastic stream, Chad. Thank you, Chloe. You guys are being way too kind to me. Okay, so who's coming in? The question, who's coming in? This is going to be, hold on, I'm forgetting his name already. Clayton? I'm a terrible host here. I should have this already. I believe it was Clayton. Colton, excuse me, Colton. Colton's from the States, just like me. I know that you probably don't want to hear two Americans talking about your football team. We'll do the best we can to hold on to it and not make you want to turn off the stream. Colton may be joining me on the show. We'll get his thoughts. Colton joined our pre-match for Tottenham with me and Ryan, and he was a good addition. I think he's doing a couple test shows to see if he's going to be a regular contributor for the channel. So you are watching. I'll remind you again, you're watching Follow Everton. This is your Midnight Blues, or pretty darn close to Midnight Blues. Thank you for joining me. I am Chad. I'm coming to you from the States. I'm on East Coast time. I'm about 5 hours behind you. So I hope you had a good day, a good Sunday, and you're going into your week ready to have a good one. Hi, Chad. Hi, back. Richo. One of my favorite you guys are being ridiculously kind to me. I don't deserve you. Let's see what else. See, this is not even words. Oh, no loss, only profit. What's it? Don't promote yourself on Follow Everton, MD Sean. Don't promote yourself. Hey, yeah, thank you. The abuse of the players was unacceptable. Fans of other clubs are laughing at us. Thank you, Tazul. That's not hyperbole. That's truth. That is not, that kind of harmful video is exactly the one thing that this club does not need right now. We cannot let this club turn into a laughing stock and continue to feed that media fodder. You know what's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. I don't know what TalkSport. I get the idea of TalkSport. We don't have TalkSport. We have ESPN, and we have a lot of the shows. I think a lot of the stuff on TalkSport is probably very similar to what I get on ESPN or Sky Sports or one of the other media outlets. But those football programs on those media outlets love nothing more than to talk about Everton, and giving them this fodder only hurts the club, hurts the fans that support the club. We cannot let the idiots that follow this team make a bad name for all of us as fans. And you, being in the UK, have even more ownership of it, more control, should have more pride over it than I feel helpless here in the States. But please stay positive. These players are doing the best they can. And they recognize Neil Maupay and Mason Holgate. They recognize you don't want them there. They know that we don't want them on the pitch wearing a blue shirt anymore. But they're professionals. They're going to be professional. And when they get on the pitch, they not only represent Everton, they not only represent, Toffee fans, Blues like us, they represent themselves. They represent the name on the back of their jersey, and they want to put a foot forward. They want to put out a good showing. So they're not going into any match to stink up the game. Their deficiencies are either a lack of, not being in the right club. Maybe, someone like Mason Holgate, you could argue he's not a Premier League player at this point. So they're either in over their head from where they find themselves within this time in their career, or they're not being put in the proper setup to utilize them. Neil Maupay is exactly that. He was scoring goals at Brighton. He did fairly well at Brentford last year, and that's why there's talk of Brentford wanting to bring Neil Maupay back. There is some interest from him from Marseille and some other teams in France. So he is not a complete waste of a football player here. There is still value in him. It is the manager's job to find a way to bring that out. I'll give you one example of this in Solomon Rondon. A few years back, we started off it's similarly to how we've started this year, very poor. Look, it had no goal threat. Solomon Rondon was a striker, often in and out of fitness. We were either playing with a false nine with Anthony Gordon or putting Solomon Rondon up top, and he looked terrible. I looked at Solomon Rondon and I said, why is this guy even here? He has no business at this level of football, and he's left. Solomon Rondon has had a ton of success now. He's playing in Liga MX in Mexico, which we get to see a little bit here in the States. He was in the Copa America this summer, looked very, very capable. And I hate it that we have players that leave Everton and are still able to go on and have success that they weren't able to achieve for us. And we're in a position now where we're going to see that with Amadou Onana at Villa. He's going to be a really nice player, but unfortunately we weren't able to get it out of him at a consistent basis. And I hate that. And you could fault Sean Dyche. And maybe at some point we will have to have a conversation about sacking Sean Dyche and Sean Dyche being out. But that's not an option for us right now. Sean Dyche is not going anywhere, because if there's one thing Sean Dyche can do, Sean Dyche keeps teams up. Sean Dyche keeps teams in games by being very pragmatic, by being very conservative, by doing everything he can, fight and claw and scrap for that 1-0, whether that be coming off of a corner or some kind of lucky volley or Dominic Calvert-Lewin, somehow turning the goalkeeper over like we saw. I can't remember what match that was last year, and getting an easy goal out of that. So unfortunately, this is what we have until we could turn the momentum of this organization completely around, do that complete 180 degrees. And that's going to start with Farhad Mashir no longer being associated with this club. Maybe that's John Textor. Maybe it's another owner potentially lurking out there in the shadows somewhere. It probably is going to be John Textor. We need to identify if Kevin Thewell is the right choice to lead the strategic direction of this team. Kevin Thewell does a lot more than just picks players. He does a lot more than just scouts players and develops a scouting network. Kevin Thewell identifies how he wants the entire organization playing. He identifies what characteristics of players he wants his scouts to go and look for. And then he wants to identify where in the world can he find value in the players to acquire. I'll give you a quick story. I'm in the States. We have the MLS here. Obviously, we have a team in the town where I live, and I was able to talk to the director of player personnel at our team here, our MLS team. And he was talking about some of the new additions that they've brought in from all over the world, and talking about, some loan deals that we've been able to send our players out. And I asked him, where are you trying to find that value? Where are you finding the best value in your recruitment of players? Because if you think Everton are operating on a thin budget right now, you should see what MLS clubs are dealing with. Spending $1 million on a player comes very few and far between. So they really have to scrape the bottom of the barrel and find value in some of the smaller leagues throughout the world and find diamonds in the rough that they can develop. Kevin Thewell has to take that approach as well at Everton, and then hopefully, as the momentum of the organization changes, as the direction of the organization changes, and then we start building momentum up in that positive direction, Kevin Thewell can take these practices that he's developed, this ability to identify, find quality players, and then he can raise that level. So now he's acquiring Premier League players rather than developmental players that might play on the U21 team. We've had a couple purchases this summer where we bought young players for that under 21 team. And it looks like they're going to try to develop and really keep an eye on the development side and hope that we can continue to develop players either for our, the big squad, the Premier League side now, or to sell on at a benefit later on. Let's look at some of your comments. I've been rambling for a little bit. I think I might have already put this one up. Yeah, unacceptable, that abuse. Let's skip through. We got all kinds of comments here. Appreciate you guys' input. Hey, I really appreciate this. I have 178 people right now. That blows my mind that 179 of you are tuning in to talk about Everton late on a Sunday night. I hope you all had great weekends. I was out at football tournaments, soccer tournaments here. I was out at soccer tournaments all weekend. And we are footy mad here at my house anyway, with all my boys in soccer. So let's see our football. Excuse me. Here we go. Let's see, Peter. How are you thinking? What are you thinking? He's also a manager who last season had us go 1 win in 15 games. Chad, that's the Mike Walker record level, mate. Yes. There was a dry spell. Absolutely. But the season is long for a reason. If we only said the only part of the season that mattered was between the middle of November and January 1st, well, then yes, Everton would have been relegated. The season is long, and it's long for a reason. It's because that it takes that amount of time to identify where teams are, what they really are capable of, where they should really be slotted. So yeah, Everton were complete dog shit in that period of time that you're talking about, Peter. But there were other parts of the schedule, other part of the fixture list that they weren't. And we don't look at it in one little window. We look at it in the aggregate. We look at it over the course of the entire season. And that determines right there the level of success that you had for that year. Manchester City didn't start the year well last year. They finished the year as champs. We'll see if they're able to do that again this year. We are not starting our season well. We've had a couple really tough fixtures to start last year. For the past couple years now, we've not started well. But let's hope that we can turn this around. Last year, ironically enough, wasn't it Doncaster that we played in the Carabao Cup last year? Hopefully, we can use this match as a way to start building some positive form, and then take those results into Bournemouth next weekend. Here we go. Dixon had a good game. Thank you. I'm so glad you mentioned this. Dixon did have a good game. Dixon looked really good. And I explained this to Ryan and Colton. Maybe Colton wasn't on yet, but I explained this to Ryan in the pre-show. There is no benefit at this point to not playing Roman Dixon. And I wish Sean Dyche actually would have come out and said this in his post-game. I was thinking about it as I was watching it on my phone after. There is no benefit to him not playing. It is all positive at this point. We've seen that he's capable of going into London against a good side, against incredible world-class players, and holding his own. He wasn't as progressive as I would like my fullbacks to be, but that's not a singular effort. That's a coordinated effort between a fullback working with his midfielders and his wingers, and that is a coordinated effort to get your fullback involved into the attack. And he tried to push the ball at times. I think there was one time he significantly brought the ball into the midfield and ended up losing it. But I appreciated that ambition, that guile, that enthusiasm with the ball. It's certainly not something that we get from Vitaly Mikolenko on the left side. So I thought Dixon looked really good, and I'm excited about what he can do. He is, quick as a hiccup. When they say he has pace in spades, and that pace allows him to make up time, make up space against really, really quick wingers. In the same way that Minte, owned Vitaly Mikolenko for that assist against Newcastle, that wouldn't happen with Roman Dixon, because Roman Dixon would be able to make up that time, make up that space if a quicker wing were to give him a quick move and try to get around him. He's going to make a mistake. But my point is there is no point in going back to Ashley Young. There's no point in trying Mason Holgate out wide. I love Seamus, but there's probably not a lot of point of going back to Seamus at this point. And I don't think Sean Dyche has any confidence in Nathan Patterson. So what I say is Ashley Young, he lacks the pace that Roman Dixon has. He may have experience and wisdom, but at 39 years old, that doesn't get you a whole lot out of a football game anymore. That's close to my age. And if I stepped out on the football pitch and tried to run, up and down for 20 minutes, I'd probably snap both of my ACLs and my Achilles. Ashley Young and Seamus Coleman, they are injuries waiting to happen. They are capable. Ashley Young is capable of making mistakes. Seamus as well. Seamus gave up an own goal last year, but I have I have much more confidence when Seamus is out there. It's a matter of him staying fit. So at this point, why not develop Dixon? Why not continue to put him out there? And all that does is help him feel more confident at this level. It gives Everton an idea of what they have with him. Is he someone that maybe we need to send out on loan when the next transfer window opens? We'll know that by him getting games here. And I think he's going to play against Doncaster. So we'll see. We'll see what Roman Dixon has. I think we're going to put out a really young side against Doncaster on Tuesday. Doncaster, am I saying that right? Doncaster on Tuesday. And I'm really excited to see what Sean Dyche has in store. All right, Paul, what do you got for me? Rest some of the first team, give some of the under 21s a go. Oh my God, you're saying it, from my, what is it? What is the saying? From my mind to your lips, or something like that. That's exactly what I want to see. I want to see some young guys on Tuesday. I want to see Roman Dixon. I want to see Harrison Armstrong. I want to see Jensen Metcalf. I want to see maybe Reece Welsh in the back. I want to see we better damn well see Jake O'Brien. I know that we paid enough money for him. We know the quality is there. He was developed by a Premier League team. He played first team minutes last year in Europe. There's a player there. It's up to Sean Dyche to get it out of him. So we better see Jake O'Brien. Are we going to see Tyler Aniango? I understand that maybe he's moved back from a central midfielder position to the center back now. So will we see him? There are young players that we can start to get a look at, and I think we will here. It's a real shame that Youssef Chermiti is hurt with that foot surgery right now, because that would be a player that I would expect to be getting nearly the full 90 in a match like this on Tuesday. Unfortunately, we're not going to see Chermiti for a couple months, but I would imagine Beto is going to get a start. They'll cover all of this. I think we're going to do a pre-match for this as well. I might very well be on it, but I would imagine we're going to see Beto start this game. I would imagine that we will see Lindstrom start. Hopefully Sean Dyche is able to get creative a little bit in how he wants to set this up. What was interesting is when they brought in Ndai for Decore, they put him over on the left, which, I think we all thought that Iliman Ndiaye is going to be there to play that central attacking midfield role, that 10, that support player for the striker that can be that creative force and spray balls out wide and find Dom running the channels. That seems like that was the intended goal for finding someone like him. We'll see if he ends up slotting into that role on Tuesday. That's where I would like to see him. But on Tuesday, so when they had him flanked out to the left, they brought Dwight McNeil in to play that number 10. There's been talk of that. There's been conversation. Do we want to see Harrison in that role? Do we want to see Dwight McNeil in that role? He looks like he might have some creativity there. That to me is not a fit for Dwight. I've seen it enough now to recognize that it's really difficult to be a creative force in the middle of the pitch when you only have one foot. Dwight McNeil being a left foot dominant player, an overly dominant player that he is, if you watch him, he often wants to dribble in to people, and he lacks that ability to do more with the ball because he's only so left foot dominant. And then you'll see he often is having to come to run backwards, to move backwards with the ball. He doesn't even want to recycle. Like Dwight McNeil is just running backwards on the pitch with the ball, completely getting us out of shape, and I think throwing off all like timing, chemistry. I don't like Dwight McNeil in the center of the pitch. Give me your comments on Dwight. Do we like Dwight in the center of the pitch? Hey, might be onto something there, Jeremy. Chermiti might be better than DCL, but we don't know yet. We'll see. We will see. What do you guys think about Dwight? Do you like him in the center? Do you want to see that more? I think I personally want to see Jack Harrison play more central. It's so funny. It's the most Everton thing that we would get Jack Harrison, who tremendous pedigree, by the way. I mean, this guy was developed by Man City, right? He great pedigree, came to Leeds, had up and down moments at Leeds, but Leeds was a somewhat of a quality side at times with the Bielsa, and Harrison is a decent enough player, but he comes to Everton, we solely stick him out on the right when his better side is on the left. We're asking him to cross balls on his non-dominant foot. We're asking him to take guys one-on-one, which he's not that kind of winger. And we're asking him to take guys one-on-one on the right side of the pitch when he's a left-sided player. So at least can we at least get him more central? I hope actually, like, I would like to see Dwight sit this. I'd like to see Harrison move over to the left and Diane at the 10, Lindstrom out to the right. And I'm hoping that we can see a little bit more creativity, a little bit more of a dynamic kind of ability here from our wings. It's frustrating because I feel like we don't have anyone in this team that can take anyone 1v1. I mean, hell, Beto looks like he's going to fall over on the ball if he tries to take anyone 1v1. Dominic DCL is not even capable of getting service to even know if that's in his bag anymore. And our wingers certainly aren't capable of taking anyone 1v1. I get envious every time I see, these teams acquire these like dynamic wingers, and we were in the market for them, right? With Minte and Philogene. We looked at these wingers. We just weren't able to get the deals over the line. So that's my hope. I want to see some parts move around, some parts change around at the top of the pitch for us. Then I want to see some younger guys in about the middle of the pitch and the back of the pitch. And I'd like to see Ja Virginia get a game. I thought Ja Virginia played very well last year. I think it's time that he gets a game. And I would imagine that we'll see that, especially we'll give Jordan Pickford a few more days off coming off of giving up 4 against Tottenham. Oh, I love a Richarlison comment. Still loves the Everton fans giving his shirt away to a fan. Yeah, I saw that. That was really cute. He gave it away to those 2 young girls. And I think they actually got the shirt signed by Meatball Molly on the train going home, perhaps. That adorable photo. So shouts to Richarlison. Absolutely love you. Hope we can bring you back someday. Shouts to Meatball Molly. I'm a big fan of Meatball Molly. She's funny. All right, what else do we got here? Dixon looked very good, better than Young. They need to work with him. They do need to work with him. We have to be able to do 2 things at once. We have to be able to walk and chew gum and develop players and still try to win games. We are not going to win games with players like Mason Holgate, Michael Keane, and Ashley Young in the side. We need to develop players and still try to win games. And I don't think those are mutually exclusive. I think that we can do both of those things and still compete and still try to win. And yes, games against teams like Manchester City and with the top 6, plus those that will be around the top 6, those are going to be tough. But that doesn't mean that those games won't benefit those players in the long run. All right, watch us bring Trippier this week, and we won't see Dixon again. Emma, I saw that there was a rumor today. I think that Newcastle might very well be in on DCL again, and then we could see Trippier come back. Oh, I don't know. He's 33. I wouldn't mind having the option, but if you're going to do that, then just go ahead and sell Nathan Patterson for, I don't know. Put him on loan. Sell Nathan Patterson. If you do that, you're pretty much saying, Seamus Coleman, you're not really going to be playing for the club anymore. Ashley Young, you're going to be moving over to the left side and subbing Vitaly Mykolenko whenever we need you there. Actually, after seeing Dixon this week, I don't want Trippier to come in. I think we may very well need the cover, but we're in a situation where Seamus is going to be able to come back and hopefully play some minutes. Nathan Patterson should be able to play some minutes. James Garner, we know, can fill that void in a pinch. He probably would have played there this past weekend if he was available. So I don't know if we need Trippier, but it wouldn't surprise me if Everton used their last loan spot on a player they didn't need when they could potentially use that elsewhere. Let's see. I vote Moyes. At least his pressing system is simple and makes more sense, and it looks safer as well. I love David Moyes. David Moyes was the manager when I first started following Everton. I don't want to see any more shakeups. I don't want to see any more instability. The thing is, if David Moyes comes in, he's going to have a completely different view of the squad than Sean Dyche does. He might have different views of the squad than Kevin Thewell does. And David Moyes is he's not going to remain quiet in the background, not share his thoughts, not play the players that he thinks that fit his system best. David Moyes knows what he needs to win, but I don't know. We don't even have the resources to get David Moyes the tools that he needs to win. So I think David Moyes fine staying over here. We'll put him on the shelf. We'll see if we need to bring him back out next year when we when we start playing at Bramley Moore. But for right now, I think, what's David Moyes doing over in the UK right now? Is he on TV? Is he writing a book? I would imagine he's probably making the media rounds right now. He probably should do that for a little while. Let Sean Dyche get us to safety, and then we could talk about how we want this team to be playing moving into the future, hopefully in a more entertaining style. Wouldn't that be nice if Everton played a more entertaining style for once? Let's see what else we got. Should be out wide. Who should be out wide? Mr. Toffee. Who are you talking about there? Yes, he would do as a good free roaming player. Harrison is but but you know what? On this team is not the worst we can do. Harrison is but for this Everton side right now, that means like middle of the pack, middle of the squad. Harrison offers some use because he does have a high work rate. He has a great first touch. He's not going to get you a lot of goals. He's probably not going to get you many assists. But he fills gaps. He is a squad player, and on a team in need of squad players, he has a purpose. Where do we got? All right. Get us out of the bottom. Oh my God. Wouldn't it be nice? I would love to get us out of the bottom. Oh, I think you're saying Moyes would bring stability and get us out of the bottom. Hey, you might be right, Keith. If you're right, if that happens, if Kevin Thewell believes that as well, then bring David Moyes in. But I don't know. I don't know if we're there yet. I think we need to, let's give it a few more games. Let's see if Sean Dyche is able to turn this around. I believe that these players will still play for Sean Dyche. And that's the question you have to ask yourself on any sport, really in any walk of life. I'm going to go into work tomorrow, and the question of my manager should be, did these employees still respect that leader? Do these employees still understand the corporate vision that leader is trying to communicate? It's no different in sports at all. The question we should ask of Sean Dyche is he able to still motivate his players? Is he able to still get a result out of them? Is he able to get them to buy into his system? Because at the end of the day, Sean Dyche is not kicking the ball in the back of the net. Sean Dyche, all he can do is put the best 11 out there on the field that he thinks gives him an opportunity to win from what Kevin Thewell gives him. And he has to ask of the players everything they can give. There's a sign that went up in the locker room. I think it might be painted on the wall at Goodison. And it says, the minimum expectation is maximum effort. And that is Sean Dyche personified. It doesn't matter if you are the most skilled player in the world, which Sean Dyche has never had the benefit of managing, or someone who is hanging on to their career like an Ashley Young. Whether you are a talented young player trying to make your bones in England, playing in the greatest league in the world, Sean Dyche is there to motivate and get the best out of you that you can. And he is only going to do that if you are willing to work for it. That's the most wonderful thing about the sport. It's what has made me fall in love with it, is that the greatest skill that anyone can have, and this goes for every player starting out 5-6 years old, all the way throughout their career, the greatest skill they can have is how much are they willing to work at it? Because this game is all about your work effort, your work ethic. If you're able to leave it all out there on the pitch, and then to some extent, obviously, like what you can do with the ball and how you see the game, but it all starts with what you have in here. And that's why these are the players that resonate with us so much as Everton fans. It's all the players that aren't rah-rahing up the crowd. It's the players that you can see are leaving it all out there on the pitch. So I think that's what Sean Dyche is going to try to ask of these players. And if he can still get that tune out of them, then there could be positive results for us. All right, we are 40 minutes in. It doesn't look like we're going to be joined by Colton. Let's get into Doncaster a little bit. I'll be honest, I'm not going to pretend like I know a whole lot about a League Two side. we just started getting the EFL in the States, thankfully. So this is really exciting that we get to start watching some of these other teams that are often never on TV here for us, unless it's, a cup match and we get those. So let's talk about Doncaster a little bit. Doncaster is started the season brightly. I think we could say 2 wins, 1 loss in League Two so far this year. They did win the first round game against Stockport, I believe. Let me go to their results. I think it was Stockport that they beat. Salford City. I'm so sorry. They beat Salford City on August 13th to advance the Carabao Cup to play Everton. There's one player that I think we should talk about. It is where is his name? There is Luke Molyneux, midfielder, 26 years old, English. He has started very well. He's going to be their best player. 3 goals in all competitions so far, an assist. He is 10 shots, leads that category for that team as well. That and Harry Clifton. He is going to be the engine for this team. If we're able to not let him do anything spectacular, and this is a League Two side, there should be a dramatic talent gap, regardless of how threadbare Everton's squad is right now. There should be a talent gap here. But crazier things have happened. So let's hope that they can prevent him from getting on the score sheet, and then we can be in pretty good shape. Chad, how does Sean Dyche motivate players when he has an overall results record, which means more losses than wins? Hey, that's a great question. But that's what makes you a good leader. That's what makes you a good manager. You have to be able to find ways to motivate these players outside of just your own resume. If we only went off a resume, then there will only be a handful of managers that actually mattered. And I don't believe that to be the case. That's his whole career, by the way. There are ways to motivate players outside of just saying, hey, I have a bunch of trophies on the wall. And that shouldn't be your motivation as a player anyway. I shouldn't be motivated as a player by, hey, what kind of success has my manager had previously? They should be motivated by how much belief that their manager has in them, what he thinks they're capable of doing, and the trust that he puts into them to go and get a result on the pitch. We'll see. I'm not ready to give up on Sean Dyche yet. Let's see. If we lose to Doncaster 4-0, then I might very well be back on the stream calling for the sacking of Sean Dyche. I don't want to be there just yet. All right. He's probably already half lost the dressing room. That may be possible. Well, there's not much of a dressing room right now, is there? But that may very well be possible. We don't know. I imagine reports will start coming out. This is the way it always happens. When a coach starts losing the dressing room, what happens? You start hearing little peeps in the media, right? Maybe it's one reporter has said, hey, I'm hearing that these 2 players were arguing, or this player had a confrontation with Sean Dyche, or this player refused to go in the game, or that there was a players only meeting. These are the kinds of things that you hear. So when things like that start coming out, then we'll know that there's more to Everton and Sean Dyche's long-term future with the club than we're discussing here today. We'll know that hey, this ship is sinking and they need to make a change. And David Moyes is sitting right there. We could always go back and do that. All right, it's been a pleasure. We've been on for 44 minutes. It doesn't look like Colton is going to join us. We have 250 of you on. I hope this has been an interesting watch for you, an entertaining watch for you. I don't think I've ever talked so much at one time in my life, but this is a lot of fun. We're gonna be back on the stream on Follow Everton again to preview this on Tuesday, and then there should be a reaction show as well. I'm not exactly sure who's going to be on these, but we'll make sure that they are entertaining for you. This is Follow Everton. Please like, subscribe, follow, do all of those things. If you could become a premium member, I'm not exactly even sure how to do that, but if you can become a premium member, please do that. that helps us out a lot. We're just here as fans trying to have fun, but those contributions, becoming a premium member, help do things like get someone a microphone that actually works. You'll notice, hey, I'm on these right now because for some reason my microphone has stopped working. Not to say that your contributions are going to go to my microphone. I'll fix my own stuff. But there's a Mabsy, I think maybe Basil. There's some others out there that might need some help with the equipment, and that helps in a great deal. So if you enjoy our programming, if you enjoy our content, please continue to follow us, like, subscribe, watch us. We appreciate the support. That's what I love about Toffees, about Blues, is that despite us being winless, us being pointless on the season with a -7 goal differential after 2 games, that we still have 250 of you on the stream. So I love you guys. Appreciate you for joining me tonight. I know we're well already into your Monday morning. This has been Follow Everton. We'll see you again soon. Take care.